Beyond the mist and heather grey, where mortal footsteps seldom stray, there stands a hall of ancient stone, where secrets sleep and truth is known. The lost lore library, they say, guards wisdom from the light of day. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in Talbots green and white protect the halls both day and night. The shelves stretch high to vaulted beams, where candlelight on leather gleams, and manuscripts in languages dead tell tales that common folk ne'er read. But Jack, he knows each volume well, and which are safe and which to quell. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in Talbots green and white protect the halls both day and night. Some say he's lived 1,000 years, some say he's conquered all his fears, some say he was a king dethroned who chose this quiet life alone. But none can say for certain true what Jack has seen or Jack has done through. If you should find the hidden door and cross the threshold to the floor of polished oak and Persian rock, speak soft and low, be not a thug, for Jack will test your heart's intent before you see where knowledge went. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in Talbots green and white protect the lost lore library's light. The lost lore library stands still beyond the moorland and the hill, where Jack keeps watch forevermore. O'er wisdom's vast and sacred store.
Well. Once more, the Wednesday is upon us. And this time, the Wednesday has brought to me an extra year of life, one step closer to the sweet release of the abyss. And holy moly. Okay, there's some shout outs that need to happen. Thank you very much. Somewhere someone has just pressed a button. Lord Stug has done something grand for the library. He has gifted 5 memberships at the level of Law Sworn to the community. All should thank him, and all should hail Lord Stug, the original member of the channel, the first ever member, I believe, to ever hit that join button. And thank you very much, sir. That is much appreciated. So, the full Chirotic, welcome. You are now a Law Sworn member of the Lost Law Library. And there is Acedia Geo 253. I recognize the profile picture. I think I know you from X. Welcome to the membership of the Law Sworn, sir. There is the Dead King 624. Welcome, sir. The Lord Otter on an alternative account. Your sock puppet is now part of the library. You have been subsumed, assimilated, so to speak, upgraded, to use Doctor Who language. And Holistic Honesty, also now a Law Sworn member. Thank you very much, Lord Stug. That was very generous of you. Thank you also to Emmy and to Delver for the little super chats there. Those are very much appreciated. And yes, in case you hadn't figured it out yet, today is indeed my 11th birthday, and it's far too short a time to spend amongst such admirable hobbits as yourselves. I don't like half of you as much as I should, and I like half of you about as much as you deserve. Or however that very confusing line goes. There's a lot of debate about that particular line. I actually cracked open the first chapter of the Fellowship of the Ring a few days ago to read through a little bit of the party, a little bit of the Baggins family history, because it's just quaint. It's Cadley McAmbry. Welcome, sir. I did actually check out the books you recommended to me, Cadley. I tried to do it on audiobook. It's not going to work. I think if I'm going to read something like that, it's going to have to be on the page as God intended, because there's been far too many names that I need to see on the page before I can understand them said to me. And indeed, I'm glad to see that you are back, Emmy. I'm glad to see you're back. If Jack tells you he's signed for XP, man, I cannot give this woman enough, Delver. You act as if I will give her nothing. I cannot give her enough, and she won't take more. She's too good to me. She made me a lovely steak dinner for my birthday. It was absolutely lovely indeed. We've got a lot of people here. Of course, we've got Stug and the people I said before. There's Heretic. Hello, Heretic. Nice to see you. There's Paladin Steve. Dean's in the chat today. Been downgraded. I might call him in later on if I run out of things to say. But for this evening, I feel I should fly solo, you know? And there's Vicky as well, who very nearly perished in Monday's stream. We were fighting a Barrow White, and it was quite the little scrap, a roller coaster, the people in chat called it, as the dice flew back and forth and the crits were exchanged. Many crits were had, not just by Dean. Upon reviewing the footage, the critical hits also came in the form of the Brass Drake, although all of his crits were on brace tests and saving throws and things like that. So it probably felt as if he wasn't doing as much as he otherwise could be. Thank you very much for the birthday wishes, Heretic. I appreciate that. And there's Amazing Gaming Productions. Sir, you're being far too generous. I saw the super thanks you did on the other video as well. Thank you very much. I do appreciate the birthday wishes, honestly. It is a shame that the ultimate birthday present didn't happen. I was sort of hoping the boy might make an appearance today, and we share a birthday, much like Frodo and Bilbo. But no, 'twas not to be. The good Lord has other things in mind for the child. Hopefully, a grand destiny of being left alone by everything and everyone to live his life as he sees fit. But other than that, I have very little with which to speak about this evening because, as I say, all of my energies are sort of at the moment focused on being on call and ready to go at a moment's notice to rush the woman to the hospital to bring the boy into the world proper. He was giving her a rights time of it today, a right time of it indeed. He was rolling around in there and kicking and punching and scratching and twisting, and I could just sort of see the belly going around like Jellington, Jello for the Americans. Is it Jello for you lot over there? What's jelly in the States?
Jelly is like jam.
Jam? What's jam?
Jam.
Jam is also jam.
They're like one has seeds and skins. And
Okay.
stuff.
What's the wobbly like dessert food?
Jell-O.
Jello. Okay.
Gelatin.
Or gelatin. So I was right. I was correct. You see, I have to translate sometimes. Still, we've been together for 10 years this year, and yet I'm still having to translate from American into the Queen's proper English, the King's proper English. Excuse me. For your birthday, I won't press you to focus your book reading the Starlight and Shadows trilogy. I did finish Dragonlance Chronicles. So I do require another thing to read now, but the problem with that is what? I could go ahead and read the Starlight and Shadows trilogy, but then what would you ever talk to me about? I feel the moment I read or listen to that series is the moment you leave, Ashray, because your work will have been completed. Excuse me. Jelly, jam, and preserves. Never understood what a preserve is. I know very little about everything. I just sort of sound like I know a lot about everything, and that's how I get on. But yes, Dragonlance Chronicles, Dragons of Spring Dawning. It started off a little weak, but I think I also said this about Dragons of Winter Night too. Sort of the first dozen chapters or so I found to be quite oddly paced. But when the book actually gets going and the maelstrom of the plot kind of captures all the characters up together again, it's quite a satisfying payoff. Preserves are preserves. Thank you, Delver. That's a fantastic tautology that you've given me there. Jeff from Denkar with 20 Canadian dollar dues. Bloody hell, Jeffrem. Happy birthday. Hope it's an amazing one. What are your goals for your next rotation around the sun? Anything major gaming or channel wise? Well, one of my goals is already sort of completed, just sort of waiting on the fruition of it, and that's obviously the boy. But channel wise, I'm doing more things with the Once Lost Games development team. I may or may not have something in the works for tomorrow and Friday, but we will see. We'll see how things pan out. There are other things I would like to do with the channel. I want to do more of the book club sort of things with the community that I have built here on the channel. It's been a fantastic sort of growth period since the last time I did one of these. I think I did also do a title on my 30th birthday, or for my 30th birthday. And since then, we have grown by, over 1,000 subscribers. We're actually approaching 1,500. I put out the call to arms to attempt to get us into the 1,500 range. Where are we now? 1,477 subscribers at present. So if we can get a load of guys to just subscribe, less than 30 people need to subscribe, and I will hit that 1,500 mark. If I can do that by Sunday, I will have considered that goal complete. And that will be a fantastic little boost, a little spring to my step. No, I am quite looking forward to this channel continuing its growth, but also being more insular and looking at the community we've already built. The Lawsworn are fantastic, but it's the Ink Guard as well that I want to sort of focus my attentions on. Those of you that are at the top tier of the channel membership, because it's you guys that want to actually go on the journey of fantasy literature with me. We've already done one book club over Discord, and it was a fantastic success. Really edifying discussion. We've been playing video games together as well. It's been fantastic. I genuinely have got a lot of gratitude for the community that is within the channel specifically, but also in sister channels as well. The channels of my friends like Everett Games, like Delver, who's in the chat there, like the Brass Drake as well. So we have sort of a burgeoning community of these little indie channels at the moment, which I can only see gaining more and more traction. Delver himself is hurtling towards 10K subscribers. If you've not subscribed to Delver, there he is in the chat. Go click on his channel and subscribe to him. But I suppose major channel wise, I would like to see every channel in this little community be on at least 1,000 subscribers by the time I do another birthday stream. So that's the Brass Drake, that's Dungeon Delver, that's Everett Games, the Untold Destiny guys, Dean and Vicky. People like that, I would like to see everyone be on at least 1,000 subscribers. That would be utterly fantastic. And we have the Jolly Roger in chat wishing me many happy returns. I thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. I am now a little bit lost in where I was in terms of what I was talking about, but there are 18 of you in the chat right now, and if you have not yet, do consider liking the stream and perhaps subscribing also, as it helps out the channel immensely. One thing I will say is you guys should go and check out Delver's shorts. Not the things he wears and when it's hot outside, no, but the little short video content that he's producing, which is a lot of like history trivia for TSR. Very, very interesting stuff. One thing that I think one of the more recent ones, I don't remember actually, but there was the history of the spell Tasha's Hideous Laughter, because that is a really quaint little story. There's quite a few little stories of Gary Gygax actually being very kindly to younger fans and doing autographs and talking to people, etc. I think that's part of his character that often gets overlooked. Whenever I hear of him interacting with younger fans, it's always very grandfatherly, and I've always liked that sort of thing. Then again, a lot of the OG guys, a lot of the old grognards, once you get past the grumpy exterior, they're all softies at heart, especially Delver. Okay, look, I wasn't going to comment on it, but then you private messaged me. Yes, I did see you. I did see you, Delver, posting Boromir's last words into the chat before the stream started. I did see you. You know why I didn't say anything about it? Because it's too soon, man. I got right. Spoilers for Dragonlance. I got over Sturm's death. I will never be able to get over Boromir's death. Forevermore, I shall look for his coming from the White Tower, but he shall not return. Even then, yeah, Boromir. I joke about it, but genuinely, that scene, Boromir's departure, the horn sounding in the woodlands below the seat of seeing, it is genuinely harrowing. That writing. Did I say hello to GPA? Hi, GPA. Didn't see you there. No, Boromir is my favorite character in The Lord of the Rings. I've said this before. I will say it again. And I don't just mean the movie Boromir. I think Sean Bean did a very good job of playing Boromir. But Boromir in the books is a machine. That's going to go and stay on the screen for a while there. The Boromir, for the way he takes charge of the hobbits, looks after them, and is a very fatherly figure to them, is fantastic. I really like the way that Boromir is just a human snowplow. The man is of Numenorian descent. He maybe lacks the far-sightedness and the wisdom and the long life that Aragorn has, or the wisdom that Faramir and his father have. But in physicality, Boromir is an utter unit, to use the language of the kids. The man basically dug through avalanches to get the Fellowship off of the mountains. He was a force upon the battlefield. We're talking about someone who led armies against Mordor to retake Osgiliath and things like that. We are talking about a man who was, everything was sort of placed upon him and on his shoulders. A lot of responsibility was on him. I believe he would have been next in line to be steward. I think the stewardship was hereditary. I might have to be corrected on that. Um, but there are certain things sort of in the Peter Jackson films where the extended cuts kind of show his reluctance to go, or his thinking he must go. Um, he for his country and for his father and for his kinsmen. Uh, Despite having this portent of doom over him, he still went. And despite falling, he redeems himself. I would follow you, my king. He is a fantastically written character, and we'll never see his like again. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Faramir. I think Faramir is a great character, but he's not a Boromir. I sound like Denethor in the films. The reason I prefer Boromir is because of the flaw in him, but he redeems himself in death, which I don't want to go too much into to my speculation on this. But during the First World War, in the trenches, the aristocrats, the old English aristocrats, the aristocracy, wasn't the kind of tough aristocracy that you see often portrayed in the media. In British society, the aristocrats, the upper classes, and the nobility, they were still intact after 1,000 years, still very much of Norman stock. But these men and women, mostly men in terms of war, obviously, they were of better breeding and education in terms of what was expected of them. The men in the cavalry and the men leading the common Saxon man in the trenches were followed not just because of social obligation, not just because of Norman conquest, but because they had to have a sort of bearing about them. One of the best things about this is there is a film set in World War II now called A Bridge Too Far. And in that, they actually had one of the World War II officers there, and he watched the guy playing his character kind of duck and dodge and weave through rubble to get to where his men were. And he sort of, oh, no, no, shouldn't do that. No, 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 no. A British officer walks, you see, he walks. He must be leisurely about it. And the idea was these British officers would just be so nonchalant about death in the middle of an industrial scale war. They would walk through gunfire. There's a story which I don't know where this is from, but there was a British officer that went over to a Sherman tank crewed by some other Englishmen. I think might have been Americans, and he went up to the gunner. And he said to who was outside the tank, sort of sat up in the gun. Yeah, I say, old chap, there's a sniper over there, sort of in that bush over there. And the guy gets binoculars and does this, and a sniper round pings off the lid of the Sherman and blinds him in blood, and he goes down into the tank. And as he's cleaning the blood away, he says, "Bring the gun around." They shoot and they blow up the bush this German sniper is hiding in. And he comes back out, and the British officers just stood there as if nothing's happened. He's got his pipe. He goes, "Ah, silly chap, wasn't he? He had all of me to have a go at, and he had a pop at you instead." And then he just walks off. And that is the sort of thing that the British aristocracy used to be. And for Boromir, who, he was the aristocrat of the group. Yes, Aragorn was the heir of Isildur, but Boromir was nobility raised. He was raised from the start to be a leader and a fighting man in a medieval society. He was the sort of aristocrat that had to get down in the mud and blood with his men, and he did. And that is the sort of aristocracy that the Brits are used to having before media ruined them for us and made us think they were all pansies and whiff-wops and such. That is a kind of that is my take on how a proper aristocrat should be acting. Very knightly, very noble. Lord Stug, $5 dues recommendation. Girl Next Gondor's video titled How Boromir Saved Middle Earth. Drop that in the Discord and I will try and remember to watch it. I've seen her videos around. I don't know how familiar I am with them, but I have seen her pop up from time to time. I have just been sent a thing. All I am is another fellow human that has at last after many wrong paths and failed attempts, found Jesus Christ. Gary Gygax. That's lovely. Thank you, Delva. Yeah, that's yeah. That's the kind of thing that will immediately stab me right in the emotions. So once again, thank you, Delva. Every stream you attempt to make me cry on stream, and nearly every stream you succeed. Excuse me. Well, Heretic, that's the book Aragorn. The actual Aragorn, the proper Aragorn, was already carrying around Anduril, the reforged Narsil, directly after the Council of Elrond. There was none of this. I don't want it. I have never wanted it. It was more, I'm gonna be king. Woo! That was Aragorn in the books, and that is the better Aragorn. Now, saying that, the Jackson films are very Tolkien, even when they're not. Someone made a fantastic. I think it was Master Samwise on YouTube made a video about why the Jackson books feel Tolkien, even when they're not. I might be wrong as to the YouTuber on that on second thought. But there's a lot of reverence in the Jackson films for Tolkien, which is why they come out as well as they do, despite obviously being flawed compared to the original. But then, who could produce anything to come close to the original? How often do you think it is? How often do you think it is that my rambles usually end up in Lord of the Rings rambles?
It's not how often do they, it's how quickly does it get there.
So every ramble, it's a matter of when, not if, I'll start rambling about the Lord of the Rings. Brilliant. Fantastic. I like the Lord of the Rings. There's nothing that can be done within the fantasy genre without reference to Lord of the Rings. Nothing at all. Even a refusal to acknowledge the Lord of the Rings still requires you to work around the Lord of the Rings. There are now 21 of you at the nearly 30-minute mark. If you have not as of yet, please do consider hitting that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel, because we are running up close to that 1500 mark. The Roman Empire, which one? The first one, the second one, the sequel, the prequel, the Turkish one? Counterpoint to your proper aristocrat thing, the drow nobility system with matron mothers. So the drow are, I mean, we're in the Underdark at the moment in my campaign, and I am running a drow house called House Alenath or Alneath, one of the two. I can't even remember. I named the thing. I can't remember it. And I basically have a heretical drow house that has turned away from Lolth and started to worship Tiamat. And they have dragon driders, drow that have become more dragon-like. And the party is being manipulated at present by the Spider Queen to go and put an end to this house. So it's a lawful good party for the most part, but Lolth is using them as a tool to go and fight this house of traitor drow and attempt to stomp them out, which is I think a kind of cool twist, because by the way, the Spider Queen's kind of the good guy in this, which is an odd thing to say. Atheism in the fantasy world. Funnily enough, Celeste, this came up between me and Brass a week or two ago. I remember a person I used to play D&D with tried to create an atheist character, very Reddit, milady. And my paladin opened his palm and just let some, radiant holy magic kind of gather in his palm and said, "What do you call this then?" And he did the whole Reddit atheist thing, like, actually, that's a biological reaction. So yeah, atheists even in fantasy realms are just as insufferable. No offense to any atheists in the chat, but you're insufferable. The party is subcontractors for Lolth. Yes, just not willingly. They kind of have to be. There's this drow wizard who is still loyal to Lolth, but initially belongs to this house that has now started worshipping Tiamat, who's been following them around for a long time and has given them some very powerful magic daggers, which have also ensnared them into Lolth's surface. And his name is Malazador. And he's just the normal 5th edition drow mage stat block, but he uses greater invisibility, and he's got some magical slippers that mean he actually, I can't say too much because there's people in my group in the chat. But I will anyway. He's got some magical slippers that means when he moves, he doesn't make sounds of footsteps and he doesn't leave footprints. So he is the ultimate mage spy at present. Who else is messaging me? I am getting pinged from everywhere. What's going on? Oh, look, that's very nice of you for every, oh man, people are very confused about the everyone in my shorts comment, but they'll have to come into the stream. Girl Next Gondor, I will be bookmarking that one. Thank you very much, Stug. Do check up on me in a few days' time if I haven't watched it, because I tend to say I'll watch things and I forget. Oh dear, the camera's having a fit. There we go. Screw the divine, I have money. Brilliant. I do like the films, but in my opinion, I'd have preferred if they also involved Jim Henson Company for the magic and mythicism PJ left out. I don't know enough about what you're talking about to make a comment on that one, I'm afraid, Graf. You know what I was thinking about actually earlier in the week? Highlander. You know Highlander, the there can only be one, cut off the head, that one. I don't understand Highlander. I mean, I understand Highlander, but the idea that you're going to get to two guys and then they become what, mortal again? Was that the thing? I can't remember. It's been ever such a long time since I watched the film. And my nan used to watch a TV show as well about it, which I don't remember. Which was a very different thing because the Kurgan in that one was a very different character. Was it Kurgan? I honestly don't remember. All I know is there can only be one. He has a katana that was actually from an Egyptian bloke, which is very funny to me. But yeah, the idea of Highlander doesn't make sense to me, because wouldn't you have a load of immortal god kings with armies rather than just dueling one another? I suppose if the idea is that they would be rejected because they don't die, I don't understand that everywhere, because apparently, eventually one society is going to start worshipping you as a man god. Ah, Marcus. Hello, sir. There was also an animated Highlander series. Huh. Wait, there's a remake of Highlander with Henry Cavill. Oh, can we not make anything new as a society? Is it all just remakes and remasters? Is that all we're capable of now? What's the prize, Jeff? Because when I watched the film, it just seemed like the prize was the knowledge and friends he made along the way, and now he can sort of tell people around the world and advise people with his immortality. But now he's mortal, and no one's ever going to believe that he was immortal in the first place. I don't understand, Jeff. Don't get me wrong; it's a cool concept. I like the idea of, it's sword fights until someone gets their head cut off. That's cool. But it's everything else around it that doesn't really make sense to me from a world building and lore perspective, It's mostly obvious in The Hobbit, but Jim Henson, I do hope you will learn who he was. One of the best entertainers ever. He created the Muppets. I think I have seen precisely one, maybe two Muppet films in my life. Again, it's films. So films and TV, I don't do I? They're just over my head, mate. The prize was always unclear in the law. The movies claimed the prize was being mortal and having a mortal life. Okay. Was Highlander a comic series at first? I've only ever seen the film, really, and a little bit of the TV show. Solid book to screen adaptation on the animated side. Also, Transformers 1. Well, Transformers is just more of the same. That's old stuff. Yes, AGP, you're very unique. Everyone should probably go and have a look at AGP's Substack, because he's I've never known a man produce so much. I don't have time to keep up with much more than the little bits I get through the Discord, but bloody hell, that's a lot of work that is just immediately coming out of that. Man. I wish I had that kind of production capability myself. Jerry Anderson, the British Jim Henson. Don't remember that name. It was originally made by HBO Productions. I do believe that, actually. Although now I'm just thinking of those crappy Hallmark shows. The Hallmark Channel. My nan used to watch that an awful lot. No. Okay, yeah. Can we make anything new? No, we can't, says Dean. New IPs require a lot more effort to make successful than existing IPs. Execs in these companies will not fund new IPs, but are happy to back old IPs. Just look at the Top Gun Maverick. Didn't watch it. There is apparently, just to further beat horses to death. That's the saying, isn't it? Yeah, beat horses to death. Okay. They are apparently making a TV show based on Baldur's Gate 3 specifically, which is a terrifying prospect to me. One, because I don't think Lavian? The bloody hell's a Lavian? I don't think Larian is going to be involved with it because, of course, Wizards of the Coast scared them off. The only good thing that's happened to them in years. And because the characters are trash. I can just see it now. The bloody cliche gay vampire character being one of the main draws. I do not understand why Astarion is so beloved. Such a terribly, terribly written character. Such a stereotype. I thought it would offend people, but no, they loved him. They loved him. Safe horny, I suppose. Beat a dead horse, not beat a horse to death. Thank you, Stephen. I like my one better. The BG3 show involves any of the writers of... So it does involve people from Larian? I thought it didn't. Pair sex on screen. That's what you're asking for. Look, what the druids get up to in their circles is entirely up to them. I don't need to be involved. The Ultra American TTRPG. Happy birthday, Father Jack. Bones creaking yet. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yes, but they've been creaking since I was about 21, so that's all right. You think Astarion is beloved because of the delivery and the charisma. You see, Marcus, I just found him irritating. I found him overacted. I found him to be a stereotype of a gay man. I did not enjoy anything about that character at all. Nothing at all. Nada. But then again, I have gripes about the entirety of Baldur's Gate 3's cast. And this is one of those things where I did a video not too long ago criticizing... it's probably why I shouldn't be allowed to stream alone. I did a video not too long ago criticizing Expedition 33, Claire Obscure. And it got, over 1,000 views and downvoted into oblivion. I upset the internet that day. If I ever actually do go into talking about the reasons I don't like the companion characters in Baldur's Gate 3, it'll happen again. I will be persona non grata again. And I've only just got back into the algorithm's good graces, so I probably shouldn't say too much. But I don't particularly like the Baldur's Gate 3 characters. I've spoken before about how I don't like Baldur's Gate 3's opening. It's too bombastic. Is it okay if I resend a message containing a link? I have something important you must see. If it's Astarion stuff, that sounds to me like it might be not safe for work. Send it to me on X. I'm pretty sure you can message me on X. I can have a look at it if you like. Astarion isn't as bad as Gale. You see, Gale was one of the characters that I was okay with because he was one of the only people with a believable backstory And he was also one of the only good aligned characters in the group. And then for some reason, I find out that Larian, in their ingenious decision making, apparently he's boinking the goddess of magic. And he's just wandering around with my group. Brilliant. There's so much. Baldur's Gate 3, the characters, and I say this as someone who plays an awful lot of 5th edition, they have the 5th edition problem where each of them needs to be special. They can't just be human fighter. They have to have something that is going to be abnormal. I mean, the most normal party member, okay, the most normal party member in Baldur's Gate 3 is the space elf alien girl, because her motivations are the only ones that make sense. All right? From the get-go, and by the way, mind flayers are dumb, terrible idea for a villain. From the get-go, she is the racial enemy of the main villain that you have set up in the game. Fantastic. Brilliant. Her main thing is she wants to rise through the ranks of her race and become a dragon knight. Fantastic. Brilliant. Nice, simple, straightforward. She then finds out that maybe Vlaakith isn't all she thought she would be, and she decides then to fight against her. You have a redemption arc if you go that route. Perfect, simplistic storytelling. Mwah, great. Her motivations make sense. Her attitude makes sense. The way she speaks makes sense. Fantastic. By the way, I succeeded the role to dom her. Just want to throw that out there. Yes, Baldur's Gate 3 does have an alien girl. I won't say her name now, mostly because I've forgotten it. But yeah, it's Lae'zel. Lae'zel is the only one, apart from one other, that has a story that makes sense from beginning to end. Oh, Marcus. Marcus, I like you, mate, but mind flayers are not welcome here. They are the worst creature. F tier monster. Lae'zel is a character that actually has motivation to make sense. Shadowheart, okay, has okay motivations, also aided by the fact that she is easily the hottest character in the party. That's why everyone likes her. You see, straight away, as soon as Shadowheart leaves my lips, there he is, the Shadowheart simp. All right, how you doing, Brass? Not even 2 seconds had gone by. There he is. I think someone asked me about my view on Karlach. My view on Karlach is that she's awful. When I first met her, I could see the writers' focus group standing behind her, patting each other on the back. Karlach to me wasn't so much a character as she was someone's OC. You know those old, like, OC don't steal pictures of Sonic characters from back in 2006 to 2010, that kind of time period? I think that the problem with Karlach is she has the this is my original character, my original creation, do not steal syndrome badly. She has it very badly. She's over-designed. She's evil. She comes across as good. She says she's good. She wants to hit demons. She wants to be free. And yet she will quite happily spend soul coins damning people to eternal damnation or destruction or oblivion or whatever it is. Oh, Steve, no. Actually, I fully support this action. I stand by my moderation team, you know. Warning, support for or admiration of mind flayers herein declared as stupid by the Lost Lore Scholar will result in immediate and permanent shaming of the offender. You have been warned. Brilliant. I never got Minthara. I knocked her unconscious because I was playing a good playthrough. This is before you could get her as a good character. Bear with me. I have you on Discord, Marcus? I don't know who from this community has access to my contact information and who doesn't. My camera's just gone weird again. Okay, let's have a look at this. Oh, this is lovely. All right. I guess I can post that for you. Well, thank you very much, sir. I thought this was going to be something very different. This is what he has posted, guys. It is merely a greetings card. Lovely. Oh, my camera refocused. That's good. What about sexy mind players? Again, that's going to be staying on the the screen for a little while there, Delver. Is mayonnaise an instrument? Oh, you're in Cell server. Oh, okay, I see. No, where was I? What was I talking about? Ah, yes, Baldur's Gate 3 is terrible. No one should play it. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best games to have come out in the last 10 years, if not the best game to have come out in the last 10 years. So, you know, take everything I say here as a pinch of salt. We critique that which we love. Unlike Claire Obscure 33, I do actually like Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't put nearly as many hours into it as most. I will have a look at how many hours I have put into Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, I have put in 76 and a bit hours, nearly 78 hours. And I did have someone on Twitter shouting at me that was not nearly enough. Not nearly enough at all in terms of hours. And that I shouldn't be allowed to speak about the game. So, hey, Sarah. You know, it's just several days of my life that I put into that game. I think, again, Baldur's Gate. What is my camera doing? Hello? Hello? Focus. Making my eyes go blurry. I don't know about you guys viewing it.
It's like what Delver said, glaucoma vision.
Glaucoma vision, brilliant. It's still not completely focused. Hello, camera. Me. I don't understand. I don't understand the technology of the time. It has thrown me completely as well. Baldur's Gate 3 has that problem of characters with massive backstories. I, for one, like when a player hands me a backstory of several thousand words. I'm one of those weird masochistic DMs, I suppose. However, Baldur's Gate 3's characters have backstories that show them killing armies of demons. Camera, come on. Come on. How much money did I spend on you? Do as you are told. This is my face. You see my face? No, you do not see my face. It's just gotten worse. It's rebelling against me. Hold on. Face. Come on. Right here. See? Thank you. Very strange. Jeff from Denkar for 5 Canadian dollary dues. Okay, so you hate the mind flayers. What led you to despise such creatures, and do you like any of the aberrations in D&D? I don't think I have any aberration that I consider to be good, so to speak, apart from perhaps the flump. Pretty sure the flump is an aberration. See you, GPA. Thanks for dropping in. The Mind Flayer for me is just weird in terms of the placing that it is in with the entirety of Dungeons and Dragons. I think the theming is kind of dumb as well. It's a spaceman that likes to eat brains, who works for a bigger brain that does other brain things. As for beholders, they're not as egregious, but also it's an eyeball with extra eyeballs. The rays are fun. They're fun, Beholders are fun, but it's again one of those things that I don't think I would want if I was writing lore. I'll gladly throw one at a party in the Forgotten Realms because it would be a fun fight, and then definitely not nearly as egregious as Mind Flayers in my mind. But again, it's one of those. It's supposed to be this wacky, crazy thing, right? It's just whacked out, crazy, far realm shenanigans, and it's an eyeball with eye stalks. But I think uh, it's not that cosmic horror doesn't work in a medieval fantasy setting. The Kuatoa are pretty cool. Oh, well, would you look at that? My connection reset. Thanks, Restream. I'm back. But now the poor old chat is reset as well. So if you guys are still there, do let me know. It's not that cosmic horror doesn't fit in D&D for me. It depends really. You know, when you have spaceships flying around with the mind flares, I get a little bit iffy. Gibbering mouthers are pretty fun. I like the gibbering mouthers. Just this horrific monster of flesh and mouths. That's quite cool. But aberrations aren't my cup of tea, in all honesty. What do I think of Yoklols? They're fine. They're demons. Candle demons, but demons nonetheless. I have no real issue with Yoklols. Now, I'm not sure as to the lore of them. I think that they were there before Lolth went into the abyss and she just kind of adopted them. Because you don't really think candle when you think spider, do you? Ah, good. You're all still there. That's good. Aberrations are a strange one. Which is the best fantasy S monster? Succubi, Dryad, Medusae. Your mother! Am I allowed to say that? Didn't some Age of Empires guy get really into a lot of trouble for saying that? Honestly, you will never find a better promiscuous character type than just ordinary human. It's just how it is. Yeah, I mean, Mind Flayers can just be creepy Underdark monsters. You see, even then, I'm not a big fan. Because all it is brains. Little brain creature into squid brain creature into big brain creature into brain attached to undead dragon creature. It's just brains, 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 brains. Who wins, Grazd or a green dragon or Drizzt? Drizzt, because he has the most plot armor. I disagree. I think the way D&D technology works is cool, but I completely get your hatred of creatures like Mind Flayers at the very least. Fair enough. You see, I am the sort of guy that likes to have a very consistent level of tech over his fantasy worlds. I'm not a fan generally of airships and things like that, even though I can stomach them. I have a very love-hate relationship with steampunk. I suppose it's like, if you consider it like a diner, like a dinner meal tray, like one of those other like frozen dinner meals where all the bits of the meal are separated and cordoned off by little plastic walls. That's kind of how I like my fantasy genres to be. Separate. I don't want them to mumble jumble together. Brass usually says ancient, although for this time around he's probably going to say, "Oh, it's an old dragon, actually," just to throw me off the trail. No, someone time Brass out. Don't actually time Brass out. That's, you know what's really bad about that entire meme? I was at work yesterday and someone's change came to that in pence and I had to stop myself. And I hate the fact that that number now stands out to me among the other numbers. And I don't understand why. I don't know where it's come from. Is it a sex joke? I don't understand. Don't like it. I also am not really a fan of Eberron, although there is a guy on X who's a fantastic guy called Ben, who is really a fan of Eberron. I understand why people like Eberron, but not me. Not for me. Not my cup of tea. I like my sort of 12th to 13th century, going into 14th, 15th century European tech in fantasy. I have been infected by the meme. I just lost the game. And now you have lost the game, viewer. You also have lost the game. Yes, you can blame Heretic. Heretic reminded me of the game's existence. And if for those of you that are either too old or too young to know what the game is, you're always playing the game. But the moment you think about the game, you lose. And then you start again. I find it fascinating that Lolf made the Yoklos by further corrupting the essence of succubi she grabbed during. Okay, that's how she made them. Interesting. The Song of Ice and Fire is not really my cup of tea. I appreciate it for what it is. I have purchased the first book, having not read the books of the Game of Thrones. But I'm not really a grimdark guy. Even in 40K, I don't like the grimdark. I realize that's so touristy of me to say, and I would never want to make it not grimdark for them. But I like the idea of the Emperor coming back, of Gilliman coming back, and all that. I'm a hope guy. I like aspirational stuff. And the problem with George R. R. Martin is that he doesn't really get that. He's a postmodernist, from what I can tell of him. And his stories are about undermining the tradition of aspirational fantasy rather than adding to it. So AGP, I'm amazed you know what it is, mate. But kudos to you. Yeah, I understand the Song of Ice and Fire. I like some parts of it, but a lot of it isn't for me. Like the skullduggery and the idea there are no true heroes, the honors for people, for fools. Not my biggest, not my. Though then again, apparently this new Knight show about it, a Knight and his Squire or whatever it's called, following Sir Duncan the Tall, is kicking off, and that's because the guy is actually an honorable knight. So when you actually have a hero character, a heroic character that embodies virtue, this ancient idea of virtue that we here in the West have had ever since our pre-Indo-European days, coming out of the northern steppes into Greece and Italy and all the rest of it. These ideas of virtue, of caritas, of love, forgiveness, mercy, chivalry, really in its most ancient form. When you put that on a screen, people love it. Because I think Plato was probably onto something when he looked at and said there are perfect imaginings of things. There is a form of a knight out there, which is the perfect form, and all knights are just pale imitations of it. I do think Plato had a bit of a point. Not that he was right on everything. I am definitely not with him on his Republic. I think we should put the philosophers in charge, says the philosopher. Although the first, like the opening parts of the Republic, where he's talking about the elder men's desire leaving them, is very interesting. I found that very interesting in school. Martin sucks. Yeah, okay. From what I have read in the book of his I do own, I would lean to agreeing. It's not my style of writing. But then again, I am notorious for being hard to please, difficult to please in this sort of realm. Plato, more like Play-Doh. Am I right? I just lost the game again. Sorry, guys. It's actually quite difficult. I don't know how Delver does this every day of every week. It's quite difficult just talking to camera. And I've done a full day's work too. So I'm just sort of sat here slowly flagging, slowly dying as we do this little stream here. Does anyone else have anything that they want to ask me about? Any particular topics that we want to talk about? Any questions, etc., etc.? I'm all yours for at least a little while yet. Well, technically, I'm all hers, but it is what it is. I said that a lot over these last few weeks. It is what it is. Ugh. And now I have to wait for 20 seconds while everything catches up with you guys. If you want another fantasy setting that has the Tolkien Lewis philosophy, I gotta recommend the Wingfeather Saga. It's also been adapted into a great animated show. You don't have to keep saying happy birthday, Delta, but thank you. The Wing Feather Saga. Let's have a look at this. The wingfeathersaga.com. I found the website. All streaming on Angel. The journey begins. Season 3. Weird looking. Is it like a kids series? Is that what this is? What's scarier, Alien or The Thing? The Thing. I've never seen either of those films. That'll ruffle some jimmies. Is the GFM still running? I don't know what that is. Dark Sun is, again, it's one of those things I can appreciate. Not really my cup of tea. Post-apocalyptic-y stuff like that isn't my thing. I like aspirational fantasy, mythological fantasy. So the issue that I have with Dark Sun is again, it's supposed to be grimdark, and grimdark just isn't me. I like to see the hero succeed against the odds. I like how I do my tieflings. I have them in settlements aligned with Elistray as their church's ideals aligns with them, allowing most to provide they can provide something of value to the community. Did you ever see my video on tieflings, Ashray? The Ko-Fi thing. Is that? Do I still have that going? I might do. I've lost track of things that I've been doing. Oh, thanks for the share, Jeff. I appreciate that. And Celeste, lovely. Has anyone got a particular topic they want to speak about? Oh, GFM GoFundMe. Sorry about that. Oh, you don't need to give me more money. We're fine. The car's fine. I should probably close that down, to be honest. The Witcher is. I've been tempted to read The Witcher. The games weren't really for me. I say this an awful lot. I can tell the games are good, but I don't enjoy them. Strange. Strangely enough, one character I enjoy an awful lot, despite being sort of grimdark in nature, because he's just doomed from the start, is Elric. How big is a dragon? Well, we have an entire several-hour discussion on how big's a dragon between the two of us, Brass, which you can go ahead and link in the chat if you like. Yeah, I appreciate super chats and donations, but I do not expect them. Thank you very much, Marcus. It's a weird feeling being sort of semi-YouTuber, where you just sort of talk for a bit and people give you money. It's very strange. Very strange indeed. Although there is something that has been staring at me for the last few days, which I haven't given enough attention to. 2 seconds, because it's not just these books here. And it's not just my graph paper and notes and things there that I have next to me. I also have a pile of books here. And one of the things that my lovely wife got me some time ago is this book, which is a dictionary of sources of Tolkien's, the history and mythology that inspired Tolkien's world, by David Day. She's got me loads of these. It's really pretty indeed. But it is, I believe, it is just it tells you the inspiration of Tolkien's world, and I've been meaning to pick it up and go through it more, but you know, good intentions. And it keeps staring at me, and it stared at me just then, just as I lost the game. What aspects that think? What are the aspects that you think made for the best kind of chivalric hero, and what aspects from various fantasy heroes would you combine to make the ultimate one? I mean, I don't need to do that. I just look at Aragorn. Aragorn is chivalry. He's everything about the heroic journey. He's in the wilderness, quite literally, and then returns to claim a crown, and in doing so, overthrows the Dark Lord. Aragorn is chivalry. But also, it's not just about chivalry in terms of a heroic character. One of my favorite moments in the Lord of the Rings is Sam following Frodo um, up the mountain into Shelob's lair and discovering Frodo webbed up and paralyzed, thinking him dead, takes Sting. And one of the lines that Sam has is ever so. What is it that Gandalf says about hobbits? Fierce as a dragon in a pinch. And Sam takes Sting, stands over Frodo, and says, "Come on, then, come and taste it." And it is the most threatening thing that Hobbit ever says. Um, so much so that when he's going along, the ring amplifies him, and the orcs think there is an elf warrior roaming their fortress, killing them. But no, it's just Sam the gardener from Bag End, Bagshot Row. Yeah, Sam is a fantastic character as well. Do you believe Middle Earth before the Seventh Age was set before the Flood? Because I know Christ is in the Legendarium. That raises questions about how the timeline works. Well, you're kind of thinking too literally. The whole point of Middle Earth is to be a mythology for the English. So it is supposed to be the origin stories of the English. But hey, because the whole point of Middle Earth was, oh, I'm translating the Book of Westmarch, the Red Book. It says Tolkien. So that's kind of the idea behind it. Claims Sam to be the hero. Where do you fall in the Sam? They're both heroes. To Sam is the crutch that Frodo cannot complete the quest without. Sam is Simon of Cyrene carrying the cross. Frodo is obviously the main character. But if Sam is there the whole time. The thing is that the Lord of the Rings is such a fantastic story because it isn't just one character that is the greatest character. Every character has their part to play. Something that a lot of books, I think, miss nowadays, with just far too many characters that don't do too much. I also like to think that the reason that Sting was able to do such damage to Shelob, as well as her children in Mirkwood, was because the blade was made to hurt her back in Gondolin. And as it, they knew of Shelob's creatures because there was the Forest of Terror or whatever it was called that only Turin ever crossed. I think it was Turin. So yeah, they were made to actually hurt these creatures, and that's why it stings. It stings, says the spider. Oh, right. Excuse me. Bit of a runny nose, but we are over an hour. That's over an hour of me yapping. I can feel my voice getting tired. So if someone wants to throw me one last question, we shall do one last question. And then we shall call it an evening. Erod Gogoroth, and it was Baron, not Turin. Thank you very much for the corrections, Doug. I appreciate that. Baron, obviously, being the famed ancestor of Aragorn. I actually have the ring with the emerald in and the snakes on it. Barahir, the ring of Barahir. It was a Christmas present a few years ago from my lovely wife. Oh boy, yes, this is very much getting to the point where I think I should probably call tonight and wind down before bedtime and close the chapter on this 31st birthday of mine. No, I do thank you very much for the little card. Very nice, actually. There's lots of little signatures on there. It's really nice. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that, sir. I also very much appreciate the candor of your questions, because even though we obviously disagree on a few of these things, it's really interesting conversations around those disagreements, which is what I'm all about and always have been about. It upsets many people. Right, that's it. I'm packing it in. It is time for a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining. I really do appreciate you all being here. I'm off. Cheery bye.
Beyond the mist and heather grey, where mortal footsteps seldom stray, there stands a hall of ancient stone, where secrets sleep and truth is known. The lost lore library, they say, guards wisdom from the light of day. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in tabards green and white protect the halls both day and night. The shelves stretch high to vaulted beams, where candlelight on leather gleams, and manuscripts in languages dead tell tales that common folk ne'er read. But Jack, he knows each volume well, and which are safe and which to quell. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in tabards green and white protect the halls both day and night. Some say he's lived 1,000 years, some say he's conquered all his fears, some say he was a king dethroned who chose this quiet life alone. But none can say for certain true what Jack has seen or Jack has done through. If you should find the hidden door and cross the threshold to the floor of polished oak and Persian rock, speak soft and low, be not a thug, for Jack will test your heart's intent before you see where knowledge went. Oh, Jack the keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by, beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in tabards green and white protect the lost law library's light. The lost law library stands still beyond the moorland and the hill, where Jack keeps watch for